I once had my heart and eyes filled with Pei Yunxiao, the son of the Pei family, the boy I willingly drew close to. But now I am completely awake, deciding to live for myself again. I never expected my brief absence would make Pei Yunxiao anxious. In response to his pleas and interactions, I only felt immense indifference and mockery. I never imagined Pei Yunxiao could be so despicable. They laughed maliciously, saying I deserved such treatment. Their words cut into my heart like sharp blades, yet I could only smile in anger. I had traded my birthday gift, an iPhone 3 from my dad, for this broken phone. Looking back, I realize how foolish I was. When Uncle Pei got out of the car and saw me, his expression was unpleasant. I coldly told him, "You can go." Meng Qingren, surprised, said, "If you don't like me that's fine, but you don't need to target Pei Yunxiao." Saying goodbye felt like a cold blade severing all ties between us. When I got home, Aunt Jo was surprised to see me alone. Aunt Jo was stunned by my words. She always knew I treated Pei Yunxiao well, even making Pei Uncle confused about priorities. Looking at me, Aunt Jo's eyes were filled with comfort. I saw her, the kindest person in the house, and remembered how I once disliked her. My eyes couldn't help but moisten. I told Aunt Jo I was going upstairs. She replied that the Zhao family young master had arrived. I remembered that she had sent me to the hospital when I was at my lowest. She even remembered I was her fiancé. I stopped Aunt Jo and asked where she was. Aunt Jo told me she was in the backyard playing with the dog. When I arrived, I saw Zhao Tingsheng feeding the dog I wanted to keep. Zhao Tingsheng, in her ordinary school uniform, looked surprisingly good. I approached her and playfully asked why she wasn't looking at me. Zhao Tingsheng replied calmly that she wasn't looking at me. I noticed her ears were slightly red. I smiled and asked if her grades were still good. Zhao Tingsheng seemed a bit unaccustomed to my enthusiasm. I asked if she had a reliable tutor to recommend, as I wanted to study hard. Sheng Wenyan was a bit surprised. She picked up her cup and took a sip, seemingly trying to hide her nervousness. I told her I didn't have a tutor, but if she didn't mind, I could come every day to help her. She was thrilled and nodded, saying, "If you want, I can do it. I'm fine with it, but I worry about your studies." I expressed my worries, but Zhao Tingsheng gently shook her head, saying it wouldn't affect her high school work. She had finished her studies and had a guaranteed spot, but she didn't tell me for fear of my reaction. I thanked her and said, "My grades are bad, so please don't think I'm dumb." Pei Yunxiao walked in after dropping Meng Qingran off. She scolded Zhao Tingsheng for eating without waiting for me, as my food was already touched. Her face fell. I looked at her and continued eating. Pei Yunxiao wanted to ask about her father, but seeing Zhao Tingsheng, she asked why she was here. To please her, I never got close to other boys. When Zhao Tingsheng came over, I would ignore her and send her away. But now, I surprisingly let her stay for dinner. I told Pei Yunxiao she was my guest and asked if she had a problem with it. "You called her over to annoy me, didn't you?" I know she doesn't like Zhao Tingsheng, but I didn't care about her feelings anymore. I told Pei Yunxiao, "You're overthinking it. I once thought this man was my everything, but now I only feel disdain for him. Liking someone like him will ruin my life. If you think being with other boys will help, you're wrong." I was angry, "But you thought too much. I actually preferred seeing you with someone else." After that, I went upstairs. I noticed Zhao Tingsheng's expression change. I said, "Don't listen to him. He wouldn't be angry about this, right?" I wasn't sure. Zhao Tingsheng didn't say much. Her attitude was calm. After dinner, I walked her to the door and reminded her to be careful. She nodded and left quietly. Her few words made me feel at ease. I got home, and Pei Yunxiao came down. He was in a short-sleeved shirt. He looked very handsome, proud and imposing. I had been fooled by his looks before. Pei Yunxiao asked me, "Why did you fire my dad?" He hadn't said this in front of others because he didn't want anyone to know he was just the son of the Shen family's driver. I told him, "Do I need to explain firing a driver to you?" Pei Yunxiao yelled, "Today's events were all my fault. It's not his issue. If you're brave enough, fire me." I was surprised and looked at him. "What did you say?" Pei Yunxiao stared at me in shock. I told him, "Haven't you always thought I was foolish? If that's the case, then forget it. Move out of my house." I'll find another tutor. My grades have been getting worse since you started tutoring me. I feel you don't deserve the salary I pay you. He angrily pointed at me, saying, your grades are poor because you're slow. I explain things to Meng Qingran, and he gets it. But you're as dumb as a pig. No one can teach you. He angrily pointed at me, saying, that's my own issue. I laughed at him, and Pei Yunxiao scoffed, you're just jealous of my relationship with Qingran. You're upset because I won't date you, but I want to study hard and get into a good college, unlike you, who has money to spare. I went back to my room and shut the door. Pei Yunxiao thought I was just pretending and warned me that if I let Zhao Tingsheng eat here again, I shouldn't blame him for ignoring me. I called Zhou Shen to move Pei Yunxiao's things out tomorrow. I wanted to move Pei Yunxiao's things out. My house can't hold someone who wants to step on me. I saved Zhao Tingsheng's number and texted him. He didn't reply. In the morning, I thought Pei Yunxiao had left, but instead, I saw him waiting in the dining room. I sat down for breakfast and said, you can leave early if you're not picking up your girlfriend. He insisted they were just friends. They were already together secretly, but wouldn't admit it. For these top students, early relationships are frowned upon. If it weren't for Meng Qingran, I wouldn't have dared to say anything. I looked up at him, seeing his stubborn face. I looked at him and asked, Principal Pei, what does this mean? Didn't you say you wouldn't be with me anymore? I remember your words clearly. He was nervous and silent. Just because his family has money, he thinks he can bully others. I didn't want to waste time with him, so I let the driver take me to school. When I got out of the car, Pei Yunxiao followed me. We used to bring Meng Qingran along. Today, she took the bus alone. She hurried over and called out, Yunxiao. Pei Yunxiao greeted her. Good morning. Meng Qingran looked at me. After yesterday's incident, she couldn't understand why a commoner's daughter would act so arrogantly toward Pei Yunxiao. Seeing us together, she asked, are you two together? Okay. I ignored them and walked in. Pei Yunxiao frowned as he watched me leave without waiting. He told Meng Qingran he had nothing to discuss with me. Meng Qingran said it was unacceptable for a commoner's daughter to bully him. Pei Yunxiao said not to care about what they think. My dad has a good relationship with the Shen family, so I should take care of myself. I can't ignore it. I arrived at the classroom, and Wang Yan was already there, blocking my way. He said, you're so shameless. Yesterday, you left Pei Xiaokao and Qingran behind. I chuckled at Wang Yan. I have my own car. I have the right not to give others a ride. Who are you to tell me? Everyone was surprised. Someone asked, are you saying that Bak is from your family? I simply replied, no. Wang Yan laughed and said, who do you think you are? We know everything. Do you still want to act like a big shot here? I heard that driver is your dad. Wang Yan said, Pei Xiaoqiao is too good to argue with you. He could have kicked you out long ago, but don't get too carried away. Pei Yunxiao and Meng Qingran appeared at the door. Pei Yunxiao looked stiff because Wang Yan's words insulted him too. He walked over and told Wang Yan to go back to his seat. Wang Yan glanced at Pei Yunxiao, sensing his anger, and had no choice but to move his things. Pei Yunxiao sat back down next to me. I didn't pay attention to his actions. He's a favorite of the teacher, so no one would say anything if he changed seats. Wang Yan sat next to Meng Qingran, feeling disgruntled. He said, what does Pei Xiaokao mean? I'm already on top of him and he still protects me. Meng Qingran said his dad asked him to take care of me and meant nothing else. Don't think too much about it, so that's why. Wang Yan said, I was wondering why you were so smug. He even said that car belongs to their family. Pei Yunxiao looked at his phone. My phone is similar. I thought about pretending to be important. Who would believe me? I sat and glanced at my phone. The sound finally brought me a message. Press.